When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. When the world seems to shine like you've had too much wine, that's amore.
If the lead compressor, if it was like burn out, does that shut down the whole? Can you bypass and let it run for a duration?
You could. I mean, if it's your lead compressor and it's got hot gas reheat, I would take my suction pressure transducer and move it over to compressor number 2,
Right.
fire it up and run. If it's
then you can give you time to get the compressor to
yeah.
release a little bit cooling.
Yeah. Yeah, it's there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do with these guys. I've actually taken boards where relays went bad, relay outputs went bad, and just moved relays down, moved them over to expansion modules and stuff. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do with them. Just got to kind of think outside the box on some of that stuff. We had a job site where they required us to control off of exhaust communicate with a DCMX controller or AAON units. Personally, I prefer the Prism 2. This is what they call an interconnected system. All they went was from the T shield and R from one board to the next board to the next board, and then went back finally to a central location where they plug into. That's where I was talking about if you have board address number or you're standing in front of unit number 1, you can change the address, or you can change, not the address, you can change step points on unit 5 if you're not paying attention. This is what they call a network system. So the green is representing the network loop, and the red is local loop. Local loop being just like an interconnected system back to the controllers. And what they're not showing you is where these two come together, the red and the green. There's what they call a mini link polling device that captures the network loop and then the local loop and separates them out. Here's your temperature resistance chart. So whenever you're troubleshooting the sensors, 10K on type 3. Can any of y'all tell me what 10K? What temperature that is? 77 degrees. So anytime you're talking the sensors, they're 77 degrees. So it's 10K at 77 degrees. RH sensor. There's the chart for the RH sensor for checking calibration on those guys. Pressure sensors, check calibration on those. And these are going into the Prism software. When you first open it up, you're going to see view status down here, bottom right. You can go in, you can actually go online, you can look at any device. It won't allow you to do anything. Or actually now, I think I just updated this. It may not allow you to do it. So when you first click on it, the default username and password is admin, all lowercase. It's going to give you administrator access at the bottom. So when you first open this guy up, you're going to go to your job site. You're going to set your port. It's going to say Silicon Lab CP210X UART bridge. You can find what port it's on, COM3. You got to see what device you're looking at, which device are you utilizing. If you buy one right now, it's going to be a USB Link 2 or COM-Link 5. Some of the older, probably USB links have been out for probably 4 years, probably about 3 years now. But they did have USB links. USB Link 2 is just a different style. It actually can communicate high speed or low speed. So you're going to select that guy, and then USB Link standalone, you'll select that guy. You'll come up to the top, enter the job site name. Right now I'm just going to leave it as test, and then I'm going to hit enter, and I want to see it appear up here on this left side. Once that comes up, I'm good. search for my units. And you know what? It's not allowing me to open that. Yeah, I didn't see nothing. Oh, you know what? Go back into it. Let's see. There we are. All right, so we're going to start search. All right, I found 3. There's where when you do your search, it automatically goes out and looks for the addresses for you. So you're going to hit exit. It's going to ask you if you want to save the search. You're going to say yes because you found all your units. If you're plugging in 1, then you're just going to see 1 unit. So right now I got board address 1, 2, and 3, which these are my boards that I got plugged in here. VCMX board 3. Got it here. It gives me mode of operation, what mode it's in. Got an override where you can turn it on and off, schedules, holidays, detailed viewer. So it got a lot of information, got time and date. Loop 1, address 3. So I'm looking at first loop, which is loop 1 is just for a network system. So it's always going to be loop 1. Board 3. Got alarm. I got some active alarms because I don't have any sensors hooked up. It tells me what version SS number that I'm looking at, version 1.64, and power up counts. That's important. That guy right there, that right there tells you how many times it's been powered down and powered up. So let's say we keep losing power to a unit, and they're saying that it's your unit that's shut down. You can look at your power up counts and see, hey, y'all got something going on with the power here. Had a job site at Dow where they had 13 labs. I was actually monitoring all 13. Looked at all of my units, and one unit was shut down. They kept saying, no, you got a problem with your unit, Renee. And I looked at all the power up counts on all of them, and there were about 2 or 3 doing maintenance or whatever, shutting down for whatever reason. This other one was sitting at like 1,300 power up counts. Said, hey guys, y'all got something going on here, man. We're losing power to this board 1,000 something times. And they said, no, it's not. And it turns out they had something going on in their switchgear. They were losing high voltage power coming to my unit, which was shutting the unit down. And I was able to catch that with power up counts. This guy, you can click on it and it'll reset. Reset power up counts, yes. So once I'm done doing maintenance and everything, I can go in there and reset that guy, and it takes a little while there, it went to 0. Then I can start looking to see if somebody's coming in here powering it up, powering it down, see if something's going on there, something electrical. Got your detail viewer. That's everything that unit is doing in one screen. So I got my supplier temperature set point, reset, enable value, which whatever the enable value is, whatever the enable temperature is, cooling set point, heating set point, space temperature, indoor RH, dew point, outdoor dew point. So it gives you everything on one screen. You can actually come in here, like right now, I got these relays assigned as heat stages, and I got a couple cool stages here. I could actually go in here, click on this guy, and force this relay on. And let's say I want to go in here and force my fan on also. And y'all hear him click here in a second. Yep, there went one. So I got force relay. My outputs are forced, so it tells me that I'm forcing something, and it tells me which relays are forced. Anything that's lit up in red is forced. Anything that's green, it's being told to turn on. Anything grayed out is off. So I can actually go in there, force them guys on and off.
Are they time sensitive? When you
2 hours.
2 hours?
2 hours. They'll stay on for 2 hours for us. Now, some of the older VCMX boards, some of the older versions, if you're working on something that's like 5 years old, those guys, when you forced them on, they stayed on. They weren't time sensitive here. I think when they went to like a version 1.4, they went to a time deal. So anything prior to 1.4, you need to turn it back off, and all you're doing is putting it back in auto. The other thing that these guys you can do, you got your alarms. Click on your alarm. If there's no active alarms, it'll just be grayed out. Anything that's active, you can look and see what's active. I don't have any sensors hooked up. Let's say I got a module alarm. I can click on that module alarm, and here's my head pressure, full digital. So it tells me what I got going on. Low suction on compressor B2, low suction on A2. Head pressure not detected. So, I mean, it tells you everything at a glance what's going on with your unit. So, Prism Software is the way to go when it comes to troubleshooting. I can actually go to set points. There's all my set points. One of the things that if y'all do use Prism Software, one of the things that I recommend y'all guys doing when y'all first walk up to a unit, plug into it, discover it, get to this point, and hit Save Set Point. Save, and it just disappeared. It's going to be, let's see. So, get to this point, and that screen pops up, and I can go name it, whatever job site, RTU, whatever, and then just hit save. Set point saved, okay. Now I got a copy of everything that this unit has in it, configured, set points, configurations, everything that board is doing. I got a copy of it. Now, let's say I want to go in here and I start changing stuff. I go in and start doing some crazy stuff and just trying stuff out. And then I decide, you know what, I don't like what it's doing now, or you know what, I don't know what I'm doing, so you know what, I'm going to go ahead and restore it. So you know what, I don't want to do that, so I can go back into this guy. This is the same set point file when I first walked up to it, and just hit open, and it all went back to the original set points. You can also take that guy once you save it. Once you save that set point file. So let me minimize this guy. So now I can come down here. Prism. Where am I at? C drive. Prism 2, and there's my SPT file. So I can do a right click on that. I can send it to an email recipient. So if you're comfortable doing that, y'all can take that file, send it out. You can email it to me. You can email it to Wattmaster. Hey, I need some help on this. The unit's doing this. We can look at it. Go, okay. Well, we need to manipulate this. Whatever it is, we can manipulate it. Email it right back to you. All you do is take it out of your email, drag it, drop it into your Prism folder, revision whatever. And once it's in this Prism folder, then you're going to go back to your controller. Just hit restore, and you'll see it in here, the one that you saved. And then you'll just click on it and dump it back in. So like right now, I can take that guy, hit open, and that's for that job site, that particular job site. That's everything that we had in that job site. Go in, configure your relays. You can go in and look at your temperatures. So across the bottom is all your temperatures. static, staging, timers, miscellaneous. You can set your trend rate. Where's your trend rate at? Right now it's the trend rate in 5 minutes. You can set your trend rate in 1 minute. You want to calibrate into sensors, assign relays. Let's say this guy needs to be a heat stage. Occupied indicator. Anytime that board goes occupied, that relay will fire off. We can make these guys the cool stages. So that's, if you have relays that go bad, you can actually move them over. Just move them over to different relays that are not being used. Configuration. Makeup air unit. Is it a supply air temperature enabled? Space temperature, return air, supply air tempering. Which one do you want? Are we utilizing a reset? Then whatever features you got installed in it, it's just checkbox stuff. 1 to 5 digital compressor, 2 to 10, 0 to 10. Once you got all that set, hit save. You can name it whatever you need and go to town with it. That's the cool thing about the Prism software. Now looking at some of the newer controllers, VCBX gives you quite a bit of data. Same kind of graphic and everything, but when you go to set points, now this gives you a lot more data. There's a lot more set points there. There, air, static, all that. Now configuration, you got a lot more configuration screens here and here. So just go through and just point and click. What do you need? What do you want for it? Once you get into the VCBX, now this guy has a whole bunch of you've got a lot of configuration. Now this guy's got configuration screens 1, 2, 3. You got refrigeration modules. You got a RSMV, RSMD, and then expansion boards. So these guys do a lot more. The capability of the VCC X2 is a lot more. You can actually control VFD driven compressors. You can also control the digital compressors. You can control the superheat. Electronic expansion valves is what they're equipped with, or most of them are equipped with. So you got all that. And then when you get into the RSMs, which are refrigeration modules, that's the newer generation stuff. You can single compressor startup, dual compressor startup. So that's RSMV stands for VFD driven compressors. RSMD is going to be digital compressors. Them are the modulating digital compressors that we talked about. So you got configuration screens for module A, module B, module C, module D. So, and then you got expansion modules, mod gas, reheat, preheat. So you got a lot you can do with those guys. Now let me jump back to the VCMX. Let me see if there's any trend data on that guy. So you click on trend logs and you can actually load logs. Let's see if it grabbed any data. Yeah. All right, so it captured a few pages worth of trend data, and it looks like we had them they're every minute trend. Yeah, trend rate is every minute. So right now you're catching space temp, supply air, return air, outside air, supply air temperature, 7 point indoor RH, dew point, coil, duct static pressure, all the way out to reheat. Now what you can do is you can take the font size smaller on it. It's going to be almost impossible to see this far out, but it takes you all the way out to head pressure control. Now one thing that you can look at is which is cool, is this relay the number for the relays. If you had relays that were lit up, you can actually just take that number, come up to relay status. Let's say there was a 25 in there, that it was reading 25. My bad. 25, that tells me right there that relay number 1 was energized, relay 4 and 5. Let's say these are your cool stages. So whenever at that particular given time, the fan was running, because fan is always number 1, and the 2 stages of cooling were calling, they were running. Now, I can actually take that information, so it's kind of, you got to use some deductive reasoning with this. So if I knew that my compressors were calling, but I'm looking at my coil temperature right here shot up, then that tells me my compressor shut off, because coil temperature went up. So why did my compressor go? Why did my compressor shut off? I was always calling for it to run. Something mechanically happened with it. Indoor RH, same thing. I mean, my RH sensor was reading correctly, and then something happened, and it shot up. What happened in the space that caused it to do that? One of the things that I always look at is the minutes. Looking at the time. I actually had a job site where electrician kept going out there, and he was doing something with what he was doing, and our unit was shutting down, and the guys were going, "Your unit's shutting down." And I looked at the power up counts. Power up counts were within reason, but the guy was saying, "No, I only shut it down for 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, and brought it back up." And turned out he was shutting it down for like through lunch, 45 minutes, an hour. And they go, "No, he didn't have it shut down that long." And I go, "Well, here it is right here, guys, time and date stamped." And we're going to font size a little bigger so we can see it. All right, time and date stamp here. And we went all the way down to here to 50, to 850, and then it jumped to 905. Or you know what I mean? Yeah. So I go, "Hey guys, look, you're missing 45 minutes right there. What happened?" "Oh, well, yeah, I guess we left it off for lunch. We must have not turned it back on."
Somebody must have made the electrician mad.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but that's something that you can look at. I mean, I've actually seen where a board starts acting up and it starts missing minutes. That's something that hey, you got something going on the board. You can go back as long as you're trend logging. Well, this is just a day, but if you're trend logging for multiple days, you can go back to multiple days and grab that trend log, look at different days. But that's how it comes out. It comes out in a file like that. You could actually go in there, graph it. You can bring the font size bigger. You can actually go in and select the units. So I'm not sure. This guy is not gonna. I don't think this guy's gonna export anything. I don't think I have it set for trend logging. Must not. But that's what the trend data looks like. So you got 3 pages worth. There's the next page. Next page. All the way up to 110. So that's what Prism Software looks like. Let's go into your calendar. You want to program holidays. There's for schedules, if you want to program in a schedule, start, stop schedule.
I never had a chance to try. We tried on it. 10 years old. I know. See, that's what Scotty was trying to do. Walk transfer to upload. Then you go in and make bad internet connection. Take it too long. They don't want to wait.
Compared to? No, it doesn't. You can go through, make your changes. Say the set points when you first get there, you go through making changes, you think they're good, say that set point file. I always do revision 1, I may have 5 different revisions by the time I leave the job site. One, I'm tweaking it, customer's happy, finally, okay, this is where we are. So, and then I just have all those set point files, they're SDT files, Prism folders. They automatically say a job, Tops Hospital, RTU number 2, one you were just talking about, right? It has that little small expansion module. Let me blow this guy up. Find out. Let's see. All right, there's this was wired from the factory on startup. We powered the unit up, did all our electrical connections, did our power up, and this little board blew up. The little board smoked. And there's where it goes to show guys, sometimes we got to think outside the box on some of these units. 24 volt power right here. Black is your common. They actually have a red wire coming here, coming down, right into the common. That should be that common should be actually a black wire. That should have been a black wire going up to the common side of that 24 volts. And all they did is create a direct short and blew that board up. That's how it came from the factory. There's the wiring diagram from the factory. Wrong. It should be a black wire. Yeah, we got a warranty board. A matter of fact, I think that
How many boards blew up?
that one was just only one board.
Oh, can y'all caught it real quick?
We caught it quick. Yeah, we seen that one, and they go. When we did start up, it was actually one of my other guys. He was the one that started it up. And I went over there, and started looking at it, and I went, "Well, damn, that comm, that shouldn't be a red wire. That should be black wire. That's just a common." So went back, and yep, that's wrong. Called the factory, said, "Hey guys, look at this." They went, "Yep, it's wrong. We'll send you the board." Wiring diagram needs to be changed on that.
Why don't they fuse it?
I don't know. I mean, they got the fuse on the transformer. They're fusing each board, yeah, but it doesn't take into account polarity wrong on the board. You know what I mean? And that's basically what you're doing, just creating a direct short with that guy. A couple other ones that.
What board was that?
What's that? That was a small expansion board. Here's one out of Dow Chemical. This guy here, I think it was, full digital module. So the older boards, this I don't remember how old this drawing is. The older full digital modules, they would bring on relay 1, relay 3, which was compressor A1, B1, and then they would bring on A2, B2. That was the way that they were staged. New full digital module, about 4 years ago, they changed the sequence, and now they bring on compressor A1 and A2 together, B1 and B2 together. Well, we had a full digital module go bad. They wired it back exactly like this, and compressors 2 and 3 kept tripping out on head pressure. Well, because compressor number 2 on the new board, the yellow wire is compressor number 1, the yellow and black is compressor 2, orange is compressor 3, orange and black is compressor 4. On the new board, these two guys need to be swapped because of the programming logic changed. Them two guys need to be moved. We called, matter of fact, that drawing, what spurred that was the compressors trip. They didn't change it on their drawing, the compressors 1 and 2, that's what it was. And the new board was bringing on compressor 1 and 2, which was really it was relay 1 and 2, which is compressor 1 and 3. Head pressure would trip off on 3, then it would bring on the other one. Compressor would trip on this guy, and then this guy would come on.
So when they when you say they replaced the board and that's when they found it?
No, they changed we did startup on it. We did startup and we found that compressor kept tripping. And then we went back and looked at it and went, hey guys, these should be swapped. The orange and the black, this orange wire belongs in terminal 3, and this guy, the yellow and black, belongs in terminal 2.
Okay.
So those two guys needed to be inverted because they changed the code. That was the old code right there. That's how it was supposed to be. The new code is 1 and 2 come on together, and then 3 and 4 come on.
I seen that on something.
Yep. We had, let's see, this guy here. This is one where we had some issues with also, and this had to do with these two guys down here. So when you're looking at, let's blow this guy up. All right, so when you're looking at a full digital module, it brings on compressor 1, then this relay comes on, which is compressor 2, it's relay 3, but it's compressor 2, then 2, then 4. That's how the full digital module works. So looking at your transducers, 1, 3, 2, and 4. When you come down here to head pressure, when you're doing head pressure control is staged 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at your transducers. 1, 3, 2, 4. Drawn wrong from the factory, guys. That's something that you got to look at. That's something that I'm not saying that you're always going to see or anything like that. It's just when you look at staging of compressors on, I caught it just because I try to pay attention to how does the compressor start up. Compressor 1 starts up, 1 and 2 start up, then it goes to compressor 3, then number 4. What do the transducers look like? What do the outputs look like? So just paying close attention to how these compressors start up and what relays fire what. I actually picked that up pretty quick. One of my guys went out there, and it was always a problem with compressor 2 and 3 were tripping on head pressure. Well, when number 2 would come on, pressure was over here on the wrong output. It would fire this guy. This compressor wasn't running, so it didn't care. It would trip off. Eventually, it would trip off on discharge pressure because it didn't gain the output. So, them are things to look at. I mean, we actually had to call the factory on it and go, hey guys, we need to send a new print. On all these jobs that we're looking at right here, we called the factory and said, hey, your print's wrong. Southampton, this is one that left the factory, and it had to do with this guy. So they went to these new reheat valves, a single output reheat valve. When you had two different valves, you were driving on the condenser valve. You were driving both valves should be hooked up to the condenser valve. Now, this guy here, these valves are the exact same valve, two different circuits, but look at the wiring. They cross the green and the red here, red and green over here. They're backwards. This is correct. That was incorrect. And it was wired from the factory that way, guys. So that was something that guy called me. It was a late night startup. Guy called me and said, "Hey, I got a problem. This thing is making a 40-degree coil and it's making like a 62-degree leaving air temperature. I don't know why it's not dropping it any lower." I said, "Man, y'all got something going on with the hot gas reheat valves." And the guy says, "No, the hot gas reheat valve is not calling." He was looking at this guy right here. He was touching the valve. He's like, "Nope, it's not hot gas." And I go, "Guys, you got something else going on." Once they finally sent me the wiring diagram, or sent me a serial number, I could pull the wiring diagram from the internet. I looked at it and I went, hey guys, this is wrong. This needs to be, this here is correct. This guy needs to match. So that's wrong. So matter of fact, this should be moved up here to the condenser valve, and then you got to swap the red and the green seal. They hooked it up to the wrong drive. This is for the reheat valve. This is for the condenser valve. That's correct. That's wrong. That needs to be moved up there, and then 2 wires need to swap. So, like I said, that's just something. These are things that we've caught in the field that, I mean, it's something that you come across. Back in the day, let's see. What was this one? This one had something to do with the relay assignments. All right, compressor number 1, relay number 1 is always the fan, right? So if relay number 1 is always the fan, why do they got a wire landed to the first stage cooling? So anytime that fan comes on and runs, it's going to be cooling. What happens when it needs to go into heat? It's going to be running cooling too. So there it is. I mean, yeah, that's something to look at. These are things that, like I said, these are just things that we've caught through the years.
Hey, Renee.
Yeah.
The Prism Software is free, right?
What's that?
The Prism Software?
Yep.
Where do you download it from?
You can actually download it from
Orion control.
tech support. Go to techsupport.wattmaster.com, and that'll actually allow you to download all the. It has all the latest and greatest updates. I can actually take you there real quick and show you what it looks like. Alright, techsupport.wattmaster.com. You can actually go to that website. You can go and download TeamViewer. You can download all kinds of stuff. You scroll down. There's where you download the Prism software right there. Just click on that triangle. It'll download it. You scroll down a little lower, and there's all the USB drivers. You got to download those guys. So there's the files for downloading the driver, or there's actually the driver files there. Click on that guy. That's for the Prism software. If you're needing to update any SD cards or SD, the files for updating the SD cards, there's the files for that. If you need to update any of the modules, any of the new controllers, there's all the HH screens for that. So you can go down. If you're needing to update a PT link, there's files for that. Here's the new